All right, I'm out in the woods today setting up trail cameras, and I was thinking about the connection between survival and bow hunting. And it connects in a few different ways. One is the way the deer move through the woods as I'm tracking them in the snow, is that they follow very random patterns, but they try to stay in areas that are they can see what's going on and people yet can't see them. It's classic deer stalking 101, but in terms of survival, as you're walking, trying not to be noticed with escape and evasion tactics, you would do the same thing. You would try to stay in the shadows, stay off the main roads. You wouldn't walk on the main trails. You would walk kind of where you could see the main trails, but in the background where you wouldn't get it. The other connection I was thinking about was uh, the basics of survival are, food, water, shelter, and security being the most important. We just talked about that with them staying out of the limelight, not trying to get seen. But shelter, and the deer kind of make their own shelter, but they do follow similar patterns where they seek the warmth in cold weather and they'll try to find shelter from a storm. But food and water is a very, it's a primal need, and it changes. I found it amazing this year as I went through and did all my scouting early in the summer and saw as the water was drying up, the deer were getting lower and lower down the hill, and that's where I started hunting season. But then as it got into September and we got a bit of a rainy spell, the creek came back and the deer disappeared. They didn't have to come back down to the water hole anymore. So by understanding what their needs are and adjusting fire for that, it makes it pretty easy to predict. Let me rephrase that. It makes it easier to predict where they're going to be. And the final part is in the martial arts, I talk about mind, body, spirit all the time and how they're connected. And bow hunting has got to be a really great example. One of the best examples I know that reflects that is because mentally, if you don't learn the habits of the deer or the skills that you need or the scent control tactics, tracking gear, you don't practice the skills of shooting your bow, you're going to be very unsuccessful hunting. If you are not in good physical shape to be able to hike up and down the mountains to get to where the deer are, you're not going to be very successful. And if the only reason that you're going out hunting is because you want to kill something, you're probably doing it for the wrong reason. I don't know too many hunters that continue doing that. Most hunters will tell you that it is, in fact, a spiritual journey itself. Being in the woods is something magical about it. There's a presence here that you just can't fake anywhere else. You can't get that anywhere else. So those are my three connections between martial arts and bow hunting, and I think they're pretty relevant. So I can't wait for this season to get going again. But I'm going to continue putting out some food, setting up the cameras, seeing what I got. I'll make sure I share the pictures along.